Bernie Kosar speaking. Bernie Kosar's recent comments on Shedeur Sanders were more than just praise. They were a rallying cry for the Cleveland Browns to wake up and recognize what they're letting slip through their fingers. Kosar, a legend with a deep understanding of what it takes to succeed in the NFL, praised Sanders for his leadership, presence, and potential to transform a team. But he didn't hold back on his criticism of the Browns' coaching staff, specifically Kevin Stefanski, pointing out how the organization's internal chaos is undermining Sanders' development.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Instead of nurturing the young quarterback's talent, Kosar claims the Browns are actively holding him back with their ego-driven decisions and a fractured system. Kosar's warning isn't just about Sanders, it's about the future of the franchise. He stresses that the Browns need to reassess their approach to player development and leadership. If they don't start giving their talented quarterback the environment and support he deserves, Kosar argues, they risk wasting another generation of potential. The clock is ticking for the Browns to change course, and Kosar's message is loud and clear. Without the right leadership, the team will continue to struggle and Sanders' career will be just another casualty of. Bernie Kosar recently unleashed a powerful critique on the Cleveland Browns, specifically addressing their handling of Shedeur Sanders during the team's bye week. Kosar's assessment of Sanders wasn't just filled with praise, but it was also a biting commentary on the way the Browns have failed not only to develop their quarterback but to recognize the immense potential that Sanders offers. Kosar, a legendary figure in the NFL, doesn't just praise talent from a distance, he's lived it. He understands what it takes for a quarterback to succeed in the league, and he sees something in Sanders that's being squandered. Kosar, in no uncertain terms, applauds Sanders for his leadership, talent, and undeniable energy. These are not just throwaway compliments, they're rooted in what he believes is the true essence of a quarterback's greatness. Kosar acknowledges that Sanders doesn't just bring physical gifts to the field. He brings the kind of leadership that elevates others, the kind of confidence that sets the tone in a locker room, and the type of poise that can turn the tide in a game. According to Kosar, these are qualities that separate truly great quarterbacks from those who only show flashes of potential. What's especially striking about Kosar's praise is how rare it is to hear such direct, unfiltered admiration from a seasoned veteran. For someone like Kosar, who understands the pressure and expectations that come with being a quarterback for a team like the Browns, to point out Sanders' leadership qualities is significant. This is the kind of quarterback the Browns need to build around. Unfortunately, according to Kosar, that's not happening. The Browns are failing to create an environment conducive to Sanders' growth. Instead of being given the opportunity to take the reins and develop, he's been kept benched while less capable quarterbacks like Dillon Gabriel are favored. Kosar doesn't just stop at praising Sanders. He dives into a critique of the Browns' entire system. In his view, the team is not only holding Sanders back, but the internal politics and poor decision-making within the organization are actively sabotaging his career. Kosar points to the coaching staff, particularly under Kevin Stefanski, as a major obstacle to Sanders' development. The organization's failure to support Sanders, to give him the opportunities he deserves, is a significant roadblock. The decision to leave Sanders on the bench while others who don't possess his leadership qualities or potential are given playing time is a clear sign that something is deeply wrong with the way the Browns. Kosar highlights that Sanders is facing a battle on two fronts. Not only is he contending with formidable opponents on the field, but he is also fighting against the resistance within the team itself. It's not just about overcoming the other team's defense. It's about overcoming the internal resistance and political dynamics that seem determined to prevent him from reaching his full potential. This internal struggle, Kosar argues, adds an unnecessary layer of complexity to Sanders' career, a complexity that could prove detrimental if not addressed. For Kosar, it all comes down to leadership. Leadership isn't just about talent or skill. It's about having the confidence to lead, the self-belief to rise to the occasion, and the ability to inspire those around you. Kosar emphasizes that these qualities are essential for any quarterback, especially one facing immense pressure at such a young age. Sanders already demonstrates these traits, but Kosar warns that even the most talented quarterbacks will struggle to succeed in a system that doesn't support them. Leadership alone isn't enough. It has to be nurtured in a system that encourages growth, rather than one that stifles it. Kosar doesn't just focus on Sanders' individual qualities though. He takes a hard look at the Browns system and the environment they've created. The reality, according to Kosar, is that even the most talented players cannot succeed in a broken system. The Browns are plagued by organizational chaos, injuries, and a lack of coherent strategy. Kosar argues that a quarterback, no matter how talented, is unlikely to thrive in an environment where the system itself is flawed. The dysfunction within the Browns is preventing players like Sanders from developing, and that, in turn, is holding back the team as a whole. Kosar points out that it's not the players who are at fault here. It's the systemic issues within the organization that need to be addressed. Sanders' potential is clear, but unless the Browns fix their approach to development, they'll continue to waste valuable years of talent. Kosar's critique underscores a critical point. Success doesn't just come from having talented players. It comes from having the right system in place to support and develop that talent. Without it, even the most gifted players will struggle to reach their. One of the most damning parts of Kosar's critique is his assertion that the Browns are intentionally or unintentionally delaying Sanders' progress by focusing on mediocrity rather than excellence. Kosar questions how many more losses and underwhelming performances the team will endure before they recognize the talent they have in Sanders. He wonders how many more chances they will give quarterbacks who simply don't have the same ability or leadership qualities before they make the decision to back Sanders fully. The lack of urgency in developing Sanders is alarming, and Kosar believes it's something that could cost the Browns dearly in the future if they don't act now. Kosar emphasizes that Sanders needs a supportive environment to succeed. He can't thrive in an environment where he's constantly fighting for opportunities, where internal politics and poor decision-making overshadow his talent. Sanders has proven that he has the ability to lead, to inspire, and to play at a high level. But to realize his full potential, he needs the team's full support, a supportive environment that offers stability, trust, and strategic backing. Without that, even the most exceptional talent will find success elusive. The overarching message from Kosar's critique is clear. The Browns need to recognize Sanders' potential and give him the opportunity to succeed. The franchise can't continue to hold him back and expect to build a championship-caliber team. Sanders represents the future of the team, but the Browns are at risk of squandering that future unless they change their approach. Kosar calls for leadership change, for a renewed focus on developing young talent, and for a shift in the organizational mindset. If the Browns continue down their current path, they'll only continue to sink deeper into mediocrity. Kosar's words serve as a harsh wake-up call for the Browns and their fans. It's not just about this season or this one player. It's about a franchise that needs to change its approach if it ever hopes to escape the cycle of failure. If the Browns fail to act, they'll continue to miss out on opportunities, waste talent, and ultimately, remain stuck in the same place they've been for years. So, the question now is, will the Browns finally make the right call and give Shedeur Sanders the chance he deserves, or will they continue making the same mistakes that have kept them in a perpetual state of dysfunction? Kosar's message is a plea for change that could ultimately transform the team and its future. If you believe the Browns should give Sanders the chance to lead, drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you think it's time for a new direction in Cleveland, hit like and share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates and discussions on the future of the Browns and the ongoing drama in Cleveland. The clock is ticking, and it's time for the Browns to decide what kind of team they want to be. Bernie Kosar's candid words about Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns struck a chord that echoed far beyond the confines of Cleveland's football community. Kosar, a legend for the Browns, isn't just criticizing the team's current missteps. He's sounding an alarm about the franchise's long-standing failure to recognize and nurture real talent. What he sees in Sanders, a young quarterback with all the potential to revitalize this team, is being wasted because of the Browns' systemic issues. Kosar didn't just stop at praising Sanders' skill. He didn't just talk about the natural arm strength or the quick decision-making. Kosar focused on what really sets Sanders apart: his leadership. It's rare in the NFL to find a player who doesn't just execute on the field, but has the innate ability to elevate everyone else around him. And Kosar sees that in Sanders. For someone like him, a man who's been through the grind of the NFL and knows how rare leadership is in a quarterback, this isn't a compliment that gets handed out lightly. In fact, Kosar's praise for Sanders is a strong endorsement that carries with it a stark message for the Browns. You have something special and you're doing nothing with it. Kosar believes Sanders' leadership and energy could be the spark that ignites the franchise, and he's upset that instead of building around this potential, the Browns are keeping Sanders benched. This isn't a case of a young player struggling to adjust to the league. Kosar sees Sanders ready, capable, and waiting for the chance to prove himself. But the Browns, for reasons that seem to have nothing to do with Sanders' ability, are holding him back. The crux of Kosar's frustration is that Sanders' future in Cleveland isn't being determined by his performance, but by the chaos within the organization. Kosar isn't just criticizing the coaches, He's taking aim at the internal dynamics that have made it impossible for this team to function as it should. The internal politics, ego-driven decision-making, and reluctance to embrace change are all contributing to the Browns' current downfall. Kosar believes that the coaching staff under Kevin Stefanski is part of the problem. They're either unable or unwilling to recognize that Sanders represents the future of this team. Instead, they've chosen to protect their own status and play it safe with players who aren't capable of taking this franchise to the next level. Kosar's comments about the dysfunction in the Browns organization go beyond just poor coaching decisions. They point to an organizational culture that is actively preventing players like Sanders from thriving. In a culture where ego and internal politics are prioritized over what's best for the team, no one can succeed. Kosar is frustrated because he knows that if the Browns don't address this, it's not just Sanders who will suffer, it's the entire franchise. And the longer the team delays in making these fundamental changes, the further they'll fall behind. What's truly alarming about Kosar's critique is his belief that the Browns have a unique opportunity with Sanders, one they're destined to squander if they don't take immediate action. Sanders is, in Kosar's eyes, exactly the kind of quarterback the Browns need to get out of the rut they've been stuck in for years. His leadership, his ability to galvanize teammates, and his mental toughness are all qualities that could transform this team. But if the Browns continue to sideline him for reasons that have nothing to do with performance, they will be responsible for wasting another golden opportunity. Kosar highlights that a quarterback's success isn't just about how they perform on the field, it's about the environment they're in. It's about leadership, confidence, and mental resilience. Shedeur Sanders has these qualities in abundance. Kosar doesn't just see a raw talent in Sanders. He sees someone with the intangibles needed to be great. He sees a leader who can step into the chaos of the NFL and impose order on it, even when things are falling apart around him. But leadership alone can't carry a player to success if the team around them isn't supporting them. And that's the problem the Browns face right now. They're not setting Sanders up to succeed. They're actively getting in his way. For Kosar, the issue is bigger than just one quarterback. It's about the entire approach the Browns are taking to develop their young players. He believes the team has failed time and time again to create a system that nurtures quarterbacks, especially ones like Sanders. Instead of focusing on Sanders' development, they've turned their attention to less capable quarterbacks, hoping that something will stick. This approach, Kosar argues, is doomed to fail. The Browns are caught in a pattern of mediocrity, and unless they break free from it, they'll never realize their true potential. Kosar also points to the systemic chaos that continues to undermine the Browns' ability to succeed. Injuries, poor management, and inconsistent coaching strategies all contribute to a broken system where even the best players can't thrive. Kosar believes the Browns need to get their house in order before they can expect any quarterback, let alone a young one, to succeed. He emphasizes that it's not just about putting a quarterback under center and hoping for the best. It's about creating a supportive system, one that fosters growth and builds trust. Without that, the Browns will remain stuck, perpetually cycling through quarterbacks who never quite meet expectations. Kosar's message couldn't be clearer. The Browns need to wake up and give Shedeur Sanders a real chance. If they don't, they risk losing him, and his potential, for good. Sanders represents hope for the future, but that hope can only be realized if the Browns stop undermining him and start supporting him. Kosar's warning is urgent. The Browns can't afford to keep playing it safe. They need to embrace the risk of developing young talent, even if it means shaking up the status quo. Otherwise, they'll continue to fall short of their potential. The question now is whether the Browns will take Kosar's advice to heart. Will they continue down the path of stagnation, allowing internal politics and ego to dictate their decisions? Or will they take the bold step of backing Sanders and finally giving him the opportunity to lead the team? Kosar is calling on the Browns to step up, stop playing it safe, and finally give their future quarterback the shot he deserves. Kosar's words, harsh as they are, serve as a call to action. The Browns have a choice. They can continue to get in their own way and waste more talent, or they can embrace the future and give Sanders the chance to shine. It's time for the organization to make the tough decisions, recognize the talent they have, and stop holding it back. The future of the franchise depends on it. The clock is ticking for the Browns. Their decisions now will determine whether they can finally rise above the dysfunction that has plagued them for decades. If they don't make the right move with Shedeur Sanders, they may once again find themselves stuck in the same cycle of mediocrity, while other teams with clearer leadership and vision leave them behind. Bernie Kosar's comments about Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns have shaken up the football world in a way that few would have predicted. The legendary former Browns quarterback didn't just provide a typical analysis of the team's struggles. He issued a powerful, no-holds-barred critique of how the franchise is mismanaging one of its most promising young players. Kosar, with all his knowledge and experience, isn't just frustrated with Sanders' lack of playing time. He's calling out the systemic failures that continue to drag the Browns down, and he's sending a loud message that they can't afford to ignore. At the heart of Kosar's comments is his deep admiration for Shedeur Sanders. While the rest of the NFL world might be debating his potential, Kosar sees something in Sanders that he believes could be the future of the Cleveland Browns. It's not just the arm talent, the ability to read defenses, or the poise under pressure. No, what Kosar sees in Sanders is a rare quality: leadership. And in the NFL, leadership is a quarterback's most important trait. Kosar, who lived through the highs and lows of being a quarterback in Cleveland, knows this better than anyone. Kosar's praise for Sanders goes beyond what most analysts would point out. He's not just talking about Sanders' ability to make the right throw or move through a defense. Kosar recognizes that Sanders has something that can't be taught: the ability to elevate those around him. Sanders' energy, his leadership, and his ability to inspire his teammates are what make him stand out in Kosar's eyes. In fact, Kosar argues that Sanders isn't just a quarterback, he's a leader, and that's the true differentiator in the NFL. What makes Kosar's praise so striking is the weight it carries. For someone with his pedigree to openly admit that Sanders has that special, intangible it factor is telling. And that's where Kosar's frustration comes from. He knows the Browns have this rare opportunity in their hands, but they're squandering it. Sanders could be the game changer the Browns have been desperately searching for, yet they're allowing him to sit on the sidelines while opting for quarterbacks who don't have the same leadership qualities or ability to carry the team forward. And that's not just a minor mistake. That's an enormous oversight. Kosar highlights that this failure to develop Sanders isn't about the player himself. It's about the culture within the organization. It's about a coaching staff, led by Kevin Stefanski, that isn't recognizing Sanders' potential and isn't willing to give him the shot he deserves. It's about a franchise so mired in internal politics and ego-driven decisions that it's actively preventing Sanders from getting the opportunities he needs to grow. Kosar doesn't hold back. He believes the Browns' coaching staff, despite being well-respected, has failed to develop a quarterback with the leadership, talent, and poise of Sanders. Kosar's critique isn't just about Sanders' playing time. He sees the issue as part of a much larger problem with the Browns' approach to player development. The organization, according to Kosar, is failing to foster a nurturing environment that allows young talent to thrive. Instead, they've created a system where internal conflicts, ego-driven decisions, and a failure to recognize when something special is right in front of them are preventing progress. What makes this situation even more painful, according to Kosar, is that Sanders has already shown that he's capable of leading the team. His leadership isn't something that can be built over time, it's a natural ability, one that sets him apart from other quarterbacks. Kosar highlights that leadership is what distinguishes great quarterbacks from merely good ones. And Sanders, with his calm under pressure, his quick decision-making, and his ability to inspire the team, has all the traits of a true leader. But in Cleveland, leadership is being ignored in favor of a safe approach, one that doesn't prioritize potential or risk. Kosar's frustration is compounded by the fact that the Browns have struggled with finding consistency at the quarterback position for years. The team has cycled through quarterbacks like they're going out of style, yet they continue to make the same mistakes. Instead of committing to one player and letting them develop, they've constantly thrown new quarterbacks into the mix, only to watch them fail. Kosar's point is clear: the Browns have been wasting time. They have the talent in Sanders, but they're too busy playing politics to recognize it. And as long as that continues, they will remain stuck in the same cycle of mediocrity. What's even more troubling is the internal dynamics within the team that seem to be undermining Sanders' progress. Kosar pointed out that Sanders is facing a battle on two fronts. Not only is he competing against other talented players, but he's also up against the political forces inside the Browns' locker room. The lack of a clear, cohesive strategy and the internal power struggles are adding layers of complexity to Sanders' development that he simply shouldn't be dealing with. Kosar sees this as a major issue that, if left unaddressed, could stunt Sanders' growth as a quarterback and lead to long-term damage to his career. Kosar also highlighted the importance of the system around the quarterback. No matter how talented a player is, they can't succeed in a broken system. And according to Kosar, the Browns system is broken. The chaos within the organization, the injuries, the lack of strategic vision, and the failure to prioritize player development, has created an environment where even the best players struggle to reach their full potential. It's not the players who are at fault, it's the environment that's preventing them from succeeding. One of the most striking things about Kosar's comments is his belief that the Browns are intentionally or unintentionally delaying Sanders' progress. Instead of investing in the future, they continue to focus on mediocrity. Kosar questions how many more losses the Browns need to suffer, how many more underwhelming performances they need to endure, before they finally recognize that Sanders has what it takes. The Browns' inability to make that recognition is not just a mistake, it's a direct threat to the future of the team. If they don't start trusting Sanders and giving him the opportunity to lead, they'll continue to fall. Kosar's message isn't just for the Browns coaches or front office, it's a wake-up call for the entire organization. The Browns have a chance to build a winning team, but they can't do it if they continue making the same mistakes. They have a talented young quarterback in Sanders, but if they keep him benched and continue to make decisions based on ego rather than merit, they risk wasting another decade in football purgatory. Kosar's conclusion is simple. Sanders needs a supportive environment to succeed. The Browns need to recognize his potential, give him the tools to develop, and stop standing in his way. Kosar's plea is a call for organizational change, a change that could finally bring the Browns the success they've been chasing for decades. Without it, the team will remain stuck, constantly chasing their tail while other teams with clear leadership and vision pass them by. As the season continues, the Browns face a pivotal moment. They can either continue down the same path, repeating the same mistakes that have held them back for years, or they can make the bold decision to give Sanders the opportunity he deserves. That decision will shape the future of the franchise. The clock is ticking and the Browns can't afford to waste another year. If you agree with Bernie Kosar and believe that Shedeur Sanders deserves a chance to lead the Browns, drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you're ready for the team to change and give Sanders the shot he's earned. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the Browns' ongoing saga and updates on what happens next. This is more than just a football story, it's a call for the Browns to finally make the right decision and put their franchise in the hands of a true leader.